Earlier, one of you asked me whether that's a donkey or what kind of animal. So that's the animal I call yak. Very, very strong animal. You can't bring this animal down below 10,000 feet. They won't function well. So if you keep them up here in a high elevation, they do very well. So that's the type of animal. And they are very popular in Tibet. And now it's, actually it came from that area. So now people use this type of animal to cross the, major pass. Sometimes they would, there's a trail, it goes from here to Tibetan side of the village, and where actually a little bit of trade takes place. And they use this type of animal to bring the stuff in and stuff out. Very strong animal. So we're now heading to Mount Everest Base Camp. Of course, from the beginning, that's what we're doing, but trails. So trail changes, so now we are in a high elevation, and some trails are a little bit nicer than others. Those are the pack, the yaks we're carrying. Those are the climbing equipment or your foot gear. So, because up in the mountains, there's nowhere to go and shop. And there's some, along the way, you would see a little bit of, we call it tea huts, tea shops. You can get some, lemonade, or sometimes they would sell, even Coca-Cola. Expensive, but pretty good when you have a Coca-Cola up in the mountains in this type of place, and also, some lodge place to stay overnight. And so when the yaks are going that direction, if you're coming down from mountains, and generally as a guy, we recommend people to stay on your left, not to the right, because if the animal push you, you can really go down deep. So these are the kind of stuff we just have to be aware of, because animals not gonna understand where you're standing. The bags are pretty heavy, and the animals keep moving. So that's another that type of accidents also I have seen happen. Actually, the mountain behind, it's a beautiful mountain. It's called Amadablam. It's a pretty much shaped like the mountain in Switzerland called Matterhorn. Yeah, it's a beautiful mountain, and a lot of people want to climb, but it has a lot of technical climbing, so not a lot of people actually make it to the top. The same mountains we are looking from the back. So we are now close to, let's see, this is about 14,000, close to 15,000 feet above the sea level. So which means another 3,000 to go in order to get to the base camp. Base camp is 18,100 or 18,000 something, 300. So 3,000 more elevation we have to gain in order to get to the base camp. And along the way, you would see, a little bit of, villages like this, and where you would see sometime, we call it chorten. Chorten is a small stupas. Because of the northern section of Nepal, most people, they are the part of, they are Buddhist. And there's some within the Buddhism. There's three major sects: Kagyupa, Nyingmapa, and Sakyapa. You would see Sakyapa in a valley, and you would see a lot of Kagyupas in Tibet, and in the northern part of Nepal, you would see a lot of Nyingmapa sect of Tibetan Buddhist. Which means it has a lot. Nyingmapa has a lot of readings and a lot of meditation. So, so people in this village like to chant all the time. Most of the time, and if you walk by sometime, and people will be chanting with a little bit of beads all the time. There wasn't hospital till 80s. Mount Everest was climbed first climbed in 1953 by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay Sherpa. And after that, this place actually got a little bit of exposure from outside world. And so it took a long time to have a hospital and school in this area. And the Hillary Foundation and a few other foundations put together some of this project in order to keep this area alive, because people were having sicknesses and they were dying, and all these things were to have all different viruses were introduced. But after having this hospital with the Western medicine, I think I have seen pretty big progress in their living.
Where do the doctors and nurses come from?
Yeah, here we go. I have actually a friend whose actually daughter goes to school in Boston and trying to be a nurse, and she wanted to go back here and work at this hospital. So so local villagers are already in a process of being a nurse and a doctors. So and some of the doctors already introduced from a local village. From these tribal groups, and they are serving in a different community in this area. But at the beginning, still there, the volunteers, doctors from Canada, United States, New Zealand, Australia. So generally they are the part of the Edmund Hillary Himalayan Foundation. So you can apply, I guess, and so you can go and serve there for one season. Which is, one season is basically 3 months, but I think when you serve as a volunteer there, you can go up to 6 to 9 months. So these volunteers are there for up to 9 months. And this two actually, a nurse and a doctor, they are from Canada. I met them there, and they stayed there for 9 months.
From where do they get the water?
Say it again?
From where do they get water?
Water generally from stream or river nearby. So if you are planning on, this is along the way, still we are heading to Everest Base Camp, and sometimes the villages are not right on the trail, so they are outside the trail, and so you would see something like this. It's a long one, and if not, sometimes people has to use this type of method to cross the river. Here's my wife trying to cross this river. And earlier I mentioned the chortins. Chortins are stupas, and you would see along the way, as well as some of the slate, it has some chanting. We're gonna see some more views of different types of mountains and what it's like camping at in the evenings.
What's the temperature like?
Like I said, if you really are there in December or in January, I have been there in that type of time of the year. It was -40 in the base camp. But if you are there in the spring, during the day it's hot. Of course, you are in high elevation, and if it's no wind, it can really get hot. Sunburn. Say it again?
Below or 40 above?
40 above. 40 above. And when you're walking, you are hot anyway. So as far as the temperature is concerned, yeah, you are in the 60s or in between 60s and 70s. And but it's a dry, so it's not really like sticky. So it's kind of get comfortable. Yak stop, we call it. So we are getting really close to the base camp now. So yak stop. Yak has to take all the breaks like we do. Get some more food. And you would see this type of houses there. Generally people would store some of the stuff they would need for their yaks. And so I think the yak driver generally purchase from them.
Do the yaks generally eat off the land?
Say it again, sorry.
Do they forage for themselves, the yaks? Or do they have to be fed?
Do they eat the grass or do they
Oh,
have to be fed
yeah. Well, you know, in the high elevation now, we're not gonna see a lot of, grass up here. Of course, at this in high elevation, they need to. We need to. Of course, yak driver has to feed them. But in the villages, of course, they let them go outside, out in the field. They would eat during the day, and when they when they bring them at night home, of course, they would feed still their other stuff. The mountain we're looking at right in front, it's Lhotse Sar on the right, Amadablam on the back, Mount Everest. Lhotse is the fourth highest mountain on earth. One of the highest difficult mountain to climb from this side is rock face, and not many people expedition had succeeded to climb these mountains. But because of Mount Everest being the highest mountain, and so that's where most people would like to go and climb. And so the other reason, but there are quite a few people who would come and try to climb these mountains from this side, but not busy like Mount Everest. So there's not a lot of green around here now. It's all, moraine, glaciers, rocks, dry glaciers. So this is what it's like all the way now from this point. We are close to 16,000 feet high. So we are very, very close to the base camp. Say it again, sorry. No, those are the memory stones of the people who got killed in Mount Everest. Yeah. And right after Mount Everest was conquered in 1953, there was a lot of expedition from all over the world went to climb Mount Everest. Every year it was really, really busy. Who they hire? They hire local, local guides from this area. And what happened was the local guides, they were very, very strong climbers. They can be up in the mountains very fast and high, bring a lot of loads up, but they didn't have a technical skills. So now we have a record-setting, very high number of Sherpas got killed than climbers who went to climb Mount Everest. So it's a lot of Sherpas climbers, this memory stones there than actually Western climbers. There are quite a few Western climbers there too, but it's mostly Sherpas, memory stone. And sometime you would see like this carved. This man was killed in the mountain called Pumori, a beautiful mountain. We're gonna see a picture of that, and he's actually a friend of mine. He was climbing. He was doing a solo attempt to these mountains, which we're gonna see now in a second. So I was in the mountains at this time when he got killed in 1989.
How did he die?
Fall. This is the mountain he was trying to climb. Yeah. This is the mountain he was trying to climb, and we looked for his, body for a couple days. I actually gave 2.5 days. We never found, so we had to give up. And later, there's another group went to look up. But then year after that, I didn't have a contact with the company I was working at that time, and so I don't know what happened.
Do they have locators now that climbers can carry? Electronic